So I know that we're not all necessarily trained educators, and that is totally okay. But I do want to give you some tools to use with your group. So if you are having behavior issues, actually, this is really to mitigate that. So even this is to prevent having behavior issues, if you kind of think about it in this way. So reframing negative descriptions. So I know this might seem kind of obvious, or it might be kind of unclear how well this would work, but it actually does change the way you think about your navigators, the youth, the children who are going to be there. Just using the different words can help you reframe the whole way that you kind of think about them, and give you a reverence for difference. Because that's what we're doing here. Everybody's diverse. Everyone has diverse, different things about them. And rather than think of those differences as negative, this will help you build a reverence for those differences that they bring, and really an appreciation for those differences. So instead of using the word disruptive to describe one of the youth, think about it instead, maybe they're a leader. They're really engaging. Boy, that kid is really engaging, really eager. Just so eager that it makes it difficult to get through the activity. So it's different than thinking about disruptive, but framing it differently. Instead of saying that kid is disrespectful or rude, you would say, boy, he's really independent. Really questions authority, very questioning. Questioning authority isn't a negative trait necessarily. It's actually an important part of developing a leader. So this will help you reframe. If you reframe how you talk about the words you use when you're talking about dealing with behavior, it will actually reframe how you think of them, and then how they feel and how they think of you too. So if you, instead of saying that somebody's being dishonest, even dishonesty is really creativity, imaginative. There's still something that is independent and questioning about that, but it is also creative. So you can even just have a moment to honor the fact that, boy, that was really creative, what you just said. It was not actually what we're doing, but it was creative. So instead of calling somebody disobedient, think of them as independent, intelligent. Most of the time, it's because they're bored, frankly. So they're intelligent, and maybe they're just bored with what's going on. Hyperactive, think of them as energetic, because they're pretty much all going to be energetic at some point. And hyperactive tends to have a negative connotation. Rather than overly sensitive, think of them as compassionate, self-aware, maybe private. So it's just reframing how you speak and how you think about the kids that you're working with, so that you can be reverent and honor their differences, rather than think of their differences as negative, because they're all going to be so diverse and different. Most rules are broken because, A, the rules are not mutually agreed upon. That's why you facilitate them coming up with the contract or coming up with the peaceable being. Most rules are broken because the rules are not clear enough and do not give direction of what to do. So if all the rules are framed, don't do this, don't do that, then it doesn't tell them what to do. So frame the rules positively. This is how navigators act. This is how a navigator acts. And keep the number of rules limited. C, most rules are broken because the rules are forgotten. They have rules at home, they have different rules at school. They're being given lots of sets of rules. So this contract, we need to review it at the beginning of each navigator session. That's why we review the contract at the beginning of each session. Most rules are broken because the navigators might be bored and not having fun. So try and take a litmus test, be aware and observant. If they seem bored, it's not working out, just be flexible and throw that activity away and move on to another one. E, another reason why rules are broken is because the children do not feel empowered or respected by the teachers. So that's why you can give them the agenda of the day. So don't keep it a mystery what you're going to be doing with them. Tell them what they can expect, because they like to feel like in control of their time. Give them a 2-minute warning before you move them from free play into the next activity, which is going to be the meal. So give them a warning rather than just yanking them from the free play time. So that's respectful. Whenever possible, give them a choice or let them vote if it's ever possible in what they want to do. And keep your expectations high and believe in them. If somebody has broken the contract and suffered a consequence, give them a real chance to bounce back the next time. Like, okay, then each new session is totally new. So really give them a chance to bounce back rather than expecting that they're going to do what they did last time. Because they can respond to high expectations. And finally, another reason why most rules are broken is because children's basic needs are not being met. They're either hungry, they're tired, or they're having problems at home, which is not much we can do about with an hour and a half of their lives once a week. But what you can do is you can start each new session with the expectation that they're going to be invited into a positive, fun, imaginative, and creative experience where they're going to have a great time, and you're going to expect that they all have an awesome time. So leave your own problems at the door also. If you've had a hard day, do something in between your day and Navigators, just 5 minutes to stretch or meditate or do some jumping jacks or get a coffee or something to leave your own day at the door so you can really be there for them. And just be a source of positivity and mentorship for them. And that will be the greatest gift. Just bringing your whole authentic self and being real with them is going to be such a gift to them and make them have a great time in a different type of relationship than some of the other relationships they're used to at home or at school.
I just want to quickly talk about sort of on the same topic of behavior management is just really kind of how you're setting up. So this is about thinking about the kids' needs, making sure their needs are met, but then there's also ways we facilitate the group that lend itself to a group being more productive and things happening and having the kids engaged. So real quick, we said, Taryn said about preventing. So just preventing, just positioning yourself. I mentioned that before. I'm really a fan of like having circles or any situations where kids are not feeling left out. Because if kids feel left out, that's not good, and they're not going to enjoy the experience. I totally agree with the agenda. Let them know. We all like to know, what am I in for the next hour or so? What am I, what's going to be happening? When is the food going to arrive? Or even adults are like that. Kids are certainly like that. That's really important, letting them know. Eye contact. I mean, that's kind of a simplistic thing to say, but just make sure you're looking at people, addressing them by name, even if it takes a while to get to know the names. Just looking at a kid, sometimes just, how are you today? Looking, patting, just make, obviously not anything, just letting them know that you're listening to them and you're there to, to be there for them. Voice, loud, fun. Be engaging, be energetic. Like Taryn said, even if you're tired and you had a bad day, take that break, get the 5 minutes that you need so that you're able to get in there with a voice that's kind of going to get the kids going, get them excited. Empower the kids. That's a really effective thing. The kids coming up with the contract, the kids making decisions about the things that you do, the kids having responsibilities on the job chart that they're responsible for every week, that's empowering to them, and that's preparing them for many things to come. Think about their needs. They're hungry, they're tired, they may have had a bad day, they may have trouble at home. Use your time wisely. The structure should help that the meeting runs according to how it should. You want to make sure that allowing time for things that just come up is okay, but you want to stick to your agenda. Remind the kids that we want to get through this activity today. We're preparing for a camping trip, so we have to go over a few things. Just constantly be mindful of what it is that you set out to do for the hour and a half or hour that your meeting is there.
One more thing I wanted to stress about why the contract or the peaceable being is framed positively is because that's also framing how you're going to talk to them. So instead of spending the hour and a half saying, don't do this, don't do that, it will be, even if it's, even if someone is breaking the contract, respect. Hey, Johnny, respect. Remember, respect. It feels much better. It feels better to have this positively framed interaction and to say, hey, Johnny, quit talking, stop talking, don't talk over somebody. Hey, Johnny, respect.
They hear that
Thank
all
you.
day. So this can be this is actually a novel thing that you're telling them exactly what you want to see. You're not saying don't do that. You're saying try this.
Do this.
It's a clear directive, and the negative is taken out of it. And they're like, okay.
And you'll feel better they'll feel better hearing it, and you'll feel better saying it. So you may be thinking, how are we going to do all this in an hour and a half? We actually have attached times to all of these. The entering in activity, just going to be about 2 or 3 minutes. So the time period of the entering in activity, handing out the t-shirts, going over the compass, moral compass, and going over the contract is 15 minutes. So that can all be done in 15 minutes. You can kind of space it out into 3 5-minute segments if that's how you'd like to do it. Then the target activity or multiple activities. You could do 1, you could do 3 maybe if you get time to do 3. That'll be 45 minutes.
Yes,
30 to 45 minutes.
Really 45 is
I think
ideal.
45 is ideal for that. Then what did we say for free time or
10.
Free play or the focused play, whichever you want to do, that's 10 minutes. And then that will still leave 20 minutes for the meal. And also don't forget the closing circle, so I guess we're including that in the 20 minutes for the meal, but the closing circle is 5 minutes. And this, you can figure this out if you need to do 30 minutes for the activity, or maybe, you don't get to free play, or maybe you just do 5 minutes of free play, that's okay too. So there's a little bit of flexibility within this. The last thing that I wanted to talk about tonight is if you are out there and you want to figure out how to support your volunteers, we have some suggestions and thoughts. So one thing that you can do is, ideally, at some point you're going to be sponsored by an organization, whether it's a school or some kind of, maybe it's an after-school program or another religious organization that is welcoming and diverse and accepting of difference, and so maybe that's what it's going to be. But you do want to connect with an organization because that's how you'll get your Navigators leaders. So what you want to do is, ideally, you want to have your Navigators meeting every week. We're also recommending quarterly or, if you can, quarterly leader powwows. So get all the leaders together to check in with each other, check in how it's going, address challenges with the group. And for those powwows, those leader powwows, make it a potluck, share some food and drinks, do some icebreaker games with each other so that you're supporting each other and building relationships with each other too, and having a good time. And then also, probably once a year, have an annual awards ceremony event or a leader thank you event. The parents can actually become involved in this. So get the parents involved. Maybe they can do a potluck meal for everybody. And maybe one of you can coordinate giving awards out to the volunteers. You can ask the volunteers to give awards to each navigator for earning a certain number of badges, or just for all the wonderful personality traits that they bring to Navigators groups. And then also you can have Navigators write thank you letters to the leaders. So these are all ideas and ways to support your leadership, the adult volunteer leaders, so that they can continue to feel nourished by participating in the Navigators program. Thank you so much for participating in the Navigators program. This is such a wonderful program that's just building the leaders of tomorrow for a multicultural, diverse, dynamic world.